The first scream wasn't loud. It was a whisper, sharp, surgical, meant only for one person. Sweetheart, I think you're in the wrong seat. Every head in first class tilted just enough to notice. Every eye pretended not to. The boy froze. 12 years old. Too small for the leather throne he sat on, feet dangling above the carpet, like he didn't quite belong in the air. His hoodie sleeve swallowed his hands. His backpack, frayed blue, clearly loved, sat tucked beneath his legs like it needed protection. He blinked once. Then again. I'm not, he said quietly, holding up a boarding pass with fingers that trembled despite his effort to keep them still. It says 2A. The flight attendant didn't take the paper. She smiled. Not kindly, not warmly. The kind of smile that ends conversations. First-class tickets are expensive, she said, her voice dripping with sugar and doubt. Let's not cause a delay, okay? The cabin went silent. Somewhere behind them, the aircraft door sealed shut with a heavy, final thud. And just like that, at 35,000 feet, or at least about to be, this child was trapped. Malik Johnson had never been on a plane before. Not a real one. Not one that smelled like polished metal and coffee and money. His mom kept saying, "Don't touch anything, okay?" But she was smiling when she said it. Nervous smile. Proud smile. They had saved for this. Months of overtime shifts. Skipped birthdays. Missed haircuts. Malik didn't know how much it cost. Only that when his mom finally clicked purchase, she cried. "You're going to sit in first class," she told him. "Like a king." He laughed because it sounded unreal. She couldn't come with him. Not this time. The scholarship ceremony was in another state. Malik had been invited alone, specially requested. The email said his science project had gone viral. Solar water filtration using scrap materials. Judges were calling it brilliant. Malik just thought it was common sense. At the airport, she knelt to his height and fixed his hoodie zipper like he was 5 again. "You belong anywhere you step into," she whispered. "Don't let anyone tell you different." He nodded. He believed her. The flight attendant finally took the boarding pass between 2 manicured fingers, glanced at it like she already knew the answer. Her eyebrow twitched, then lifted. "Oh," she said flatly, but she didn't apologize. Instead, she leaned closer, lowered her voice. "Did someone else book this ticket for you?" Malik swallowed. "My mom." A pause. "And where is she now?" "At work," he said. Another pause. Longer. The woman straightened, scanning the cabin like she was looking for an adult who made sense of the situation. "Okay," she said briskly. "We'll sort this out. For now, why don't you move to the back? Just until we verify." I can't," Malik said. His chest tightened. "I'm supposed to be here." A man across the aisle shifted uncomfortably. A woman 2 rows back looked down at her phone, like it had suddenly become fascinating. No one spoke. The attendant's smile vanished. "Don't make this difficult," she said. "People are waiting." Malik's hands curled around the armrests. "I didn't do anything wrong," he whispered. That's when she sighed. Loudly. "Kids these days," she muttered, just loud enough. Always trying something. Something. The word landed like a slap. "Is there a problem?" The voice came from behind. A man in a gray suit, silver at the temples, eyes sharp. He looked from Malik to the attendant to the boarding pass, still clenched like evidence. "No problem," the attendant said quickly. "Just a seating mix-up." The man frowned. "Because I'm in 2B, he said, "and that's 2A. Silence. Malik didn't look up. He couldn't. His ears burned. His heart pounded so loud he was sure everyone could hear it. The attendant laughed, a short, brittle sound. "Yes, well," she said, "company policy requires us to ensure minors are—" "He's ticketed." The man interrupted. "What policy is that?" She stiffened. "Sir, please let me do my job." The man leaned back, unimpressed. "I think you're doing too much." A few heads turned. The attendant's cheeks flushed. "I'll handle this," she snapped. "Security will be informed if necessary." Security. The word echoed. Malik's eyes filled. He blinked hard, remembering his mom's voice. You belong anywhere you step into. But belonging felt fragile up here, like it could be taken away with one wrong breath. The plane didn't move. 5 minutes passed. 10. Whispers spread. A couple in the back complained about missing their connection. Someone groaned dramatically. The attendant returned with a tablet, tapping furiously. Well, the man in the gray suit asked. She ignored him, focusing on Malik like he was a problem to be solved. Malik Johnson, she read. Unaccompanied minor. Yes, Malik said softly. She looked up. You should have been escorted. I was, he said, to the gate. Not good enough, she replied. The man in gray stood. That's not his fault, he said. That's yours. Her eyes flashed. Sir, if you don't sit down. That's enough. The voice was calm, firm. It came from the front of the cabin. The cockpit door swung open. Every conversation died instantly. The pilot stepped out. Tall, broad-shouldered, calm in a way that suggested storms had lost him before. His uniform was crisp, his presence immediate. What's the holdup? He asked. The attendant straightened like she'd been caught stealing. Just resolving a seating issue, Captain, she said quickly. The pilot's eyes moved, not to her, but to Malik. He took in the too big hoodie. The clenched hands. The boarding pass bent from being held too tightly. He frowned. Son, he said gently, is this your seat? Malik nodded. Yes, sir. The pilot turned to the attendant. And his boarding pass? She handed it over. The pilot read it. Once. Then again. Then he handed it back to Malik. Seat 2A, he said clearly. First class. The cabin held its breath. The attendant opened her mouth. The pilot raised a hand. No, he said. I've heard enough. He turned to the passengers. I apologize for the delay, he said. This should have been handled correctly the first time. Then he looked back at the attendant. Step aside. She blinked. Captain? Now. She moved. The pilot crouched to Malik's level. I'm sorry, he said quietly. You were treated unfairly. Malik stared at him, stunned. The pilot stood and addressed the cabin again. Let me be clear, he said. This young man did nothing wrong. He belongs exactly where he is. A murmur rippled through first class. The man in gray nodded slowly. The pilot turned back to the attendant. We'll discuss this after landing, he said. For now, you are relieved from cabin duties. Her face drained of color. What? She whispered. Take a seat, he repeated. Another attendant will take over. She hesitated. The pilot didn't. She walked away. Another attendant appeared. Younger, nervous, kind. Can I get you anything? She asked Malik softly. Juice? Snacks. Malik shook his head. The pilot leaned in once more. You okay? He asked. Malik nodded, though his eyes were still glassy. The pilot smiled. Good, because we're about to take off. As he turned to leave, Malik spoke. Sir, the pilot paused. My mom said, Malik began, voice shaking, that I belong anywhere I step into. The pilot smiled wider. She's right, he said, and she raised a brave young man. Then he disappeared back into the cockpit. The door closed. The engines roared, and the plane finally lifted into the sky. The story didn't end there. It never does. When the plane landed, 2 supervisors waited at the gate. The attendant was escorted off quietly. No scene, no shouting, just consequences. Malik was met by a woman holding a sign with his name. Your mom called, she said. She wanted to make sure you were okay. Malik smiled. I am, he said. And for the first time since boarding, he believed it fully. Power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it steps out calmly and tells the truth. Prejudice doesn't need proof, only permission. And silence is often the loudest accomplice in the room. But courage? Courage looks like a child staying seated when the world tells him to move. It looks like a man standing up when it's uncomfortable. It looks like a pilot opening a door and reminding everyone who belongs where. Malik walked off that plane taller than when he boarded, not because he sat in first class, but because that day, first class learned something from him.